Good morning, metalheads of the internet, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Metal Meltdown. Just one more itsy bitsy teensy weensy little fucking reminder that I am hosting a live Halloween party right here on the channel tomorrow night, starting at approximately 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're gonna drink, dance, sing, play video games, get up to all kinds of stupid fucking buffoonery. Why? Because it's a goddamn party, that's why. And you know what? It's not a party without you. Plain and simple. Once again, Halloween party, tomorrow, blah 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 blah. Alright, let's talk about this brand new album from Mastodon. Hushed and Grim is the 8th studio album from American progressive sludge metal crew Mastodon, who in the 2000s were responsible for a slew of highly influential and critically and commercially successful records like Remission, Leviathan, Blood Mountain, all leading up to the undisputed masterpiece that is 2009's Crack the Sky. An album so ambitious, so immersive, so mesmerizing, so unique, and so powerful, I feel very comfortable saying that it is my favorite prog metal album of all time, and even more comfortable saying that it's one of my favorite albums in any genre ever, period. Perhaps knowing that they could not recreate the magic and the success of any of these records, let alone Crack the Sky, Mastodon very quickly embraced more straightforward songwriting on subsequent records like The Hunter and Once More Round the Sun. They even strayed away from writing concept albums entirely up until 2017's Emperor of Sand. And while none of these records are flat out amazing, they're all still filled with some pretty memorable and tasty jams. Despite all of this though, despite my love and appreciation for Mastodon, I can't really say I was too excited for Hushed and Grim. The promo singles just did not leave much of an impact on me. They initially felt somewhat clumsy and derivative, and honestly, I didn't even really think they were mixed and produced all that well either. Watching the Metal Trenches review didn't exactly fill me with hope either. Eagle-eyed viewers may even notice a somewhat pessimistic comment left on my behalf. But now I have the entire album in my hands, I have listened to it multiple times, I've done plenty of research, and after all of this, I feel very comfortable saying that this is way fucking better than I expected it to be. It's not their best album altogether, that title still very much belongs to Crack the Sky, don't even try to fucking argue with me on that, but it is probably the most important and urgent and revealing thing that they've made since Crack the Sky. It is lyrically and conceptually very dark, very somber and mature, inspired by the loss of their longtime friend and manager Nick John, who passed away from pancreatic cancer a few years ago. Musically as well, this is for the most part a pretty stellar record, and more impressively, a very diverse and flexible one. Like, you've got lead single Pushing the Tides, for instance, which has this very trippy, psychedelic punk urgency to it, with some rambunctious riffs and beats, some weirder soundscapes and vocal effects and harmonies. I didn't enjoy this song as a single, but in context of the full album, I think it's actually a pretty raucous and triumphant little piece, perhaps even one of my favorite cuts on the record. You've also got Dagger, which is cloaked in a very mysterious fog with keyboards and synthesizers and string and woodwind arrangements looming over some very ominous and haunting vocal harmonies. There's also The Beast, which surprisingly drips with deep-fried southern charm and grit and twang with some very soulful southern licks and melodies, almost in the vein of Chris Stapleton, but with a more blatant prog metal edge. Mastodon even whip out an alt-metal tinged power ballad via the track Had It All, which I'll admit is my least favorite track on the record, but despite that, it's hard not to connect with the heart and the soul of this cut. It's emotionally one of Mastodon's most vulnerable and transparent cuts. Even the longtime Mastodon fans vying for a return to the glory days of Remission may be happy and interested to hear that tracks like Savage Lands and The Crux are legitimately pretty fucking heavy, with the former track sporting some neck-snapping grooves and this piss and vinegar kind of urgency almost in the vein of classic Lamb of God, while the latter track is filled with disgusting and abrasive screams and guttural vocals and guitar riffs drenched in static and mud and filth. Some tracks even manage to find a sweet spot between the more accessible melodic prog metal of The Hunter and the more ambitious endeavors of Crack the Sky, namely tracks like Tear Drinker, Sickle and Peace, More Than I Could Chew, and in my opinion, album highlight, Skeleton of Splendor. A haunting acoustic guitar-driven piece that gradually evolves and mutates into prog metal's long-awaited answer to Mr. Crowley, with some blaring synthesizers dripping with pure evil and malice, very quickly contrasted with a soulful, classic Mastodon guitar solo. I'm actually kind of loving the production and the sound mix of this record as well. Everything has been engineered to make this sound as organic, as human, as real as possible, as if to emulate an actual Mastodon live show. This may irritate some, especially on heavier tracks, and especially in regards to how the vocals are consistently mixed across the record. I'll concede that they could be a lot higher in the mix, but I feel that it helped make the album all the more accessible, which is kind of important when you have an album as gigantic and as tonally heavy as this. I will, however, concede that with 15 tracks and a 90-minute runtime, Hushed and Grim feels bigger and longer than it really should. I get that there's a lot of stuff happening, and I get that all of it's important, but I don't know, I feel like it could still be condensed and trimmed and edited just a little bit fucking better. Nonetheless, though, I'm going to give this a very enthusiastic 4 to 5. I think this is a great record. I'm genuinely shocked. I went into this album not expecting to like it at all. I was ready to give it maybe a 2 out of 5 or a 2.5 out of 5 just based on the promo singles, which ironically also I kinda like now. Like what the fuck happened? I don't know, man. I guess it just goes to show that you really can't judge a book by its cover, especially not one as fucking gigantic and as emotionally charged as this one. Longtime fans who were perhaps alienated by albums like Once More Round the Sun and Emperor of Sand, I think are going to really enjoy this record, and I can't picture a reason why prog metal fans in general would not enjoy this record. I do feel like the major publications are overhyping this album a little bit. I've seen a lot of perfect and near-perfect scores from Exclaim, AllMusic, Blabbermouth, and Rolling Stone, but hey, it's not completely misplaced. This is, warts and all, a pretty great fucking record, and the best thing that Mastodon have made since Crack the Sky. In my opinion, at least. 4 to 5, a really great record. Definitely check it out. And that is it for the Metal Meltdown. I'm not an expert, nor do I claim to be, so what do you think? Do you like this record? Do you not like this record? And what do you want to hear from me next? And thank you for watching. Make sure you press subscribe right here so you get updates on the Metal Meltdown fucking immediately. And as always, you have yourself a fantastic fucking day.